Big moments of the day. Victory Unlocked brought to you by Zillow. Agents, tours, loans, homes. Get home with Zillow. Let's start with the Spain-France game. This was, I think, at least in this tournament, the purest vision and version of this Spanish team that I know you were very high on coming into this tournament and has certainly lived up to billing in terms of being the most consistent and even, dare I say, the most beautiful team in the way that they played. I thought that they were ultimately the better team against this France team. They are doing it in a different way, as we have talked about all month, but it is still incredibly successful. It is still incredibly, at times, beautiful. There are some individuals, including a 16-year-old, that are just doing it on a consistent basis, certainly warranted when it comes to having Spain go on and beat France and be in the final.
What was interesting was I thought France got off to a great start. The first 15 minutes of the game was the best they've looked all tournament. Didier Deschamps made a big call, leaving Griezmann on the bench, starting Ousmane Dembele, and the front three combined on the goal. Dembele to Mbappe, beautiful cross to Colomwani. Mbappe was abusing 38-year-old Jesus Navas, who started in place of the suspended Dani Carvajal. But then that Lamine Yamal goal changed everything. Then minutes later, Spain took the lead. Dani Olmo, his third of the tournament, he's tied for the Golden Boot lead. And then the rest of the way, they were clearly the better team, so it was a deserved victory for them for sure.
A couple of things. We can't talk enough about Lamine Yamal and, kind of waiting for the depth and the importance to be a weight on him, and yet it never comes. You mentioned Navas. Navas evidently is older than Lamine Yamal's father, which is insane. We'll talk a little bit more about 16-year-olds and what they do. But yes, he's 16, but he is there for a reason because he consistently takes players on, and he is providing magical moments, including a goal today that is one of the best goals of the tournament. And this whole off-wing type of situation where somebody plays on the right, even though they're left-footed and able to cut into their stronger foot, was on display here. And to your point, France started out okay, but then Spain just took over with those magic moments and then just the control of the ball.
I have to come up with a top 5 goals of the tournament that we're going to run during the pregame show for the final. And there's some debate about Lamine Yamal versus Jude Bellingham's bike, which is number 1. I think I'm going to go with Bellingham's bike, but everybody will have to wait and see on that. But yeah, it was an incredible strike by Lamine Yamal. Just to put some numbers to it, 16 years, 362 days, youngest scorer in Euros history, youngest scorer in the Euros or World Cup. He surpassed Pele in 1958 in that regard. So
amazing.
We are seeing the start of an incredible career here for sure.
I love the fact that he's not afraid. And, I can't remember who was being interviewed at one point, but they were talking about how he doesn't seem fazed by it. Now, it could be that he is that mature at a young age, or it could be that it's just so big that he's too young and I use this word dumb to even recognize the weight, and therefore he just kind of is having a good time.
So just to put a ribbon on France, disappointing tournament for them. A French player finally scored a non-penalty goal today, but they got one all tournament. They crash out. Didier Deschamps, he tried in the second half to change things. He brought on Griezmann, Camavinga, Barcola, and then eventually Olivier Giroud. And they
unmasked Mbappe too.
Unmasked Mbappe, Olivier Giroud, who we know is heading to MLS now. But no, they just could not get going today and all tournament long. I know they got to the semifinals, but overall a pretty disappointing showing for such a talented squad.
Let me ask you something, Mosse, and this is apart from the game, but I think it's a more general type of question because we have a friend, Ben, who just is so irritated and angered by the use of goals in the run of play and the added value that we seem to put on them, because in his mind, if somebody dribbles through the entire team, gets fouled, and then somebody scores, it's just as valuable as anything else. And I started to think about it. Any sense to that? Any credence when it comes to that?
Yes. I guess the issue with France is they scored 4 goals all tournament, and 2 of them were own goals, and then you had a penalty, and then the goal today. So it was pretty paltry for such a talented team. Now, to your point, you probably could just say the goals in games, and that drives the point home. People feel they need to take that extra step and even pick apart the goals they did score and pointing out that some were own goals or penalties and all the rest. So I guess that's what bothers your friend, Ben.
Yeah. I mean, a lot bothers my friend Ben, but I sometimes listen to him. And in this case, he got me thinking of it because we just throw that out there constantly as if, okay, well, this team sucks because they're not scoring the run of play.
Mbappe, though, has still not scored a Euros goal from the run of play. He has one career Euros goal, and it came from the penalty spot. So it's amazing. For all the success he's had in World Cups, for whatever reason, this competition gives him trouble.
Hey, did you think that almost was an own goal? Because it started as
that was interesting. Yeah,
because all the angles that I saw, it looked like it was going past the post.
Yeah, it was initially ruled a Jules Koundé own goal, which would have been our 11th of the tournament. They changed it to Omo. I wonder if the folks at UEFA are starting to get a little sensitive about all the jokes about own goal being the leading scorer in this tournament.
Plus, it put him in the running because he gets to play another game, and everybody gets. No, there's no third place games, so he gets to play another game too. Because that would be his third goal of the tournament.
Yeah, so we have 5 players tied on 3, including Cody Gakpo, though, who still gets to play in his semifinal.
Cody Gakpo. All right. Well, congratulations to Spain. As we said, I think it's not just a feat to get to the final, but I think it's also the story about how they are playing and the different way in which they're doing it.
I probably should wait until the final to see if they win it, but I am cultivating a take that Spain right now is the great footballing nation on the planet. When you take everything into account, club, country, men, women, the players they produce, the coaches, the influence on the game, when you take it all into account, I just don't think there's a nation right now that's functioning on the level that Spain is.
We had this conversation on air, but I will ask you, because when it comes to the way that this Spanish men's team has changed, it's always going to be compared to that generation that fundamentally changed the way that we think about the game, the way that we play the game. Is this team that we are watching right now as good? And I know it's subjective, but is this team as good as that?
I don't think so. I know you're saying this one has a different element that perhaps that one didn't have with these 2 wingers, but I just think that team, the quality they had, where they didn't need a plan B. They were so good at their plan A.
Okay, I think I can't remember who I was talking to. It might have been Mo, but there was the belief that this team is more entertaining than the tiki-taka, kill them by 1,000 passes type of situation.
Perhaps. I like the tiki-taka stuff, but I get that some people found it tedious.
Well, you're an elitist snob when it comes to your sports.
Correct.
Right, okay.
So I get that, yeah. People like the directness of wingers like Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams for sure.
Okay, well, Spain 2, France 1, Spain goes on. All right, switching over to the Copa America over there. Argentina versus Canada. Certainly on paper, a mismatch, a repeat in that we saw these two face each other in the group stage in the very first game of the tournament. That was 2-0. This ended up being 2-0. I don't think that this is surprising to anybody, whether it's us here, whether it's the players on the field, or whether it's Jesse Marsh on the sideline. And there certainly is no shame in Canada ultimately losing to Argentina, the defending World Cup champions and the defending Copa America champions right now. But did you see anything, before we get to Argentina, real quick on Canada, did you see anything in terms of the way they played this game that it references back to that first game when they played against Argentina?
No, they were fairly similar in the sense that in both cases, Canada put up a decent fight, gave a respectable account of themselves, but Argentina's quality just shone through in the end.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's talk about Argentina for a little bit, and then I want to circle back to Canada to finish this up. So, Argentina, we have still not seen the best of Messi, although he gets a goal tonight. And even an ugly Messi goal is still worthy of talk and worthy of plenty of words that will be written about it. But we haven't seen the best of Messi, and I don't think we have seen the best of this Argentina team. And it should be said that they got a much easier draw and side of the draw, and what was anticipated and predicted by most has come to fruition. Now, not necessarily a Argentina-Canada semifinal, but Argentina has done what they've done. At times it's been okay. At times it's been ugly, but we're still kind of waiting for them to do something spectacular, or I guess for Messi to do something spectacular, and we haven't had that yet.
A couple of notes on Messi's goal. It was his 14th career Copa America goal. He has scored in 6 different Copa Americas. That ties the record with this Brazilian player, Zizinho, from the 40s and 50s, who was Pele's childhood idol. And I looked this up.
For Copa America, right?
Correct. Scoring in 6 different Copa Americas. When Messi scored his first career Copa America goal in July of 2007, Lamine Yamal wasn't even born yet.
Just remind the folks out there, the the scheduling of Copa America is a little willy-nilly, right?
Yes. No. There have been a zillion. What are you
when
bristling at?
Well, when we're talking about World Cups or when we are talking about Euros and stuff like that, it's pretty much decided that 4 years, types of cycle here, and yet.
Copa America, they just kind of make it up as they go. Yeah.
I mean, we have.
No, but yeah. So the record is Messi became the second player ever to score in 6 different Copa Americas, along with this great Brazilian player, Zizinho, from the 40s and 50s. So you decide whether that's something that's
I'm just saying
worth celebrating.
But because if it was just every 4 years that we're having a Copa America, that's, 24 years, right?
I see what you're saying. Playing in 6 different Copa Americas doesn't necessarily mean a long span.
It doesn't, exactly. And centenarios and all that kind of stuff. But that's how Condebo rolls. We get it. I understand.
But on to the other goal. I mean, what a luxury Argentina have. You have the top scorer in the tournament, Lautaro Martinez, and you can leave him on the bench and start Julian Alvarez instead, and he gets a goal. His second goal of this tournament, both of them were against Canada. So the fact that they can toggle back and forth between those two players up top is such a luxury.
A couple things on this game. 80,000 people over there in New York. And when I say New York, I mean New Jersey. At what's the name of that stadium over there? Giant Stadium?
MetLife Stadium.
MetLife Stadium. And it was, let's be honest, it was completely Argentina. We saw them again in Times Square, and this bodes well for the next couple of years, and obviously the summer of 2026. They are going to be another home team. The fervor, whether it's Argentinians coming from around the world or Argentina, or whether it's already here, this is a team that people want to see, and this is a team that people will pay a lot of money to see, and this is a team that creates an atmosphere like it is a home game for this Argentina team. And again, them literally getting the lay of the land for tonight, by the way, in New Jersey, where potentially they will be playing for the title if they go all the way through and defending their title in the World Cup in 2026.
Remember, in the Hulu Bon Jovi documentary, Bruce Springsteen told the story of when he first came up, record labels wanted him to brand himself as a New York artist because it had more cachet, and he stood his ground and said, no, I'm a New Jersey artist. So you respect that.
I respect that, yeah.
On the topic of music, one person for whom this was a costly defeat tonight for Canada was the rapper Drake, Toronto native, who bet lots of money on Canada. Now, before we started taping, I heard Kyla Morris schooling you on the Kendrick Lamar-Drake feud. Did you absorb anything she said?
I'm going to need some more help here, because the only thing that I know about Drake is he's a not a Disney kid. What was the other one? The other kids show, the Degrassi thing. Is that what he did? I don't know. I thought he was like Degrassi. Thank you. Whatever. So he was a kid actor and singer, I'm assuming, and then he's gone on to big things. And then the other thing I know about is he likes to place big bets, but that he loses them a lot. And so I think he did his country, because he's Canadian, right?
Correct.
I think he did his country a disservice by placing $300,000 bet on Canada. If he really wanted to, do Canada a service, he would have placed that bet on Argentina, and then it would have been the reverse type of jinx there. So. But the Kendrick character, what does he do?
He is a fellow rapper from Los Angeles.
So there's a rap beef going on right now. Yeah. All right. And is it done in words, or is this spilling over? And
this is just words, thank God. I know you studied up recently on Biggie and Tupac.
Yes.
That's a beef that unfortunately went beyond words.
Unfortunately, it did. So I hope that it just remains in the artistic form of the battle going forward. And so they're slinging it back and forth. Is what's happening here?
And I'm Team Kendrick.
You are?
Yes. I think he's the far superior lyricist and is going to flame Drake the longer this goes on.
Wow. I don't know if that's a hot take. Can we kiss off Canada? I know they're going to play the third place game, and that's important. We would certainly cover that on Saturday. But, this is where it ends in terms of the dream of winning Copa America. But as we said before, they were playing with house money. Jesse Marsch was really kind of screaming and yelling today. He was really animated, and I get that, but it seemed a little forced and a little much at times, and it's probably going to get old. But he was not happy with his own players. He was not happy with the refereeing. He was not happy with a lot of things. But that's neither here nor there, because what Jesse Marsch has done with this team is going to serve him and this team well over the next couple of years.
Now, in both Copa Americas in which the U.S. reached the semis, 95 when you were involved, and then 2016, the U.S. lost in the semis and then lost the third place game as well and finished fourth.
Yes.
And you've said that third place game in 95 is one of the biggest regrets in your career, the fact that you guys didn't take that game seriously. Be interesting to see how Canada under Jesse Marsh approaches this one.
Yeah, I remember, I think I've told this story before. So we ended up playing that third place game, and we were so close to getting to a final, and we were in rarefied air, and there was so much energy and resources that we put forth, and then you lose that semifinal and you have to play. It should be looked at as an opportunity and an honor. And different teams, given who they are, might take it differently. And we did not take it seriously. And I'll never forget, Bora Milutinovic, who had been our coach in 94, I saw him later and he almost scolded me saying, "You guys have no idea what you had. You had an opportunity to finish third rather than fourth." And in his infinite wisdom, he said third is better than fourth. And it's not that we didn't understand that. It's just we should have looked at it in a different way. And so I hope that Jesse Marsh, and I would assume that he's going to make sure people understand on this team that, hey, you have the opportunity to continue to make history. And this is resonating. This is resonating around the world. This is resonating certainly back home. I saw Mick Jagger over in Vancouver with the Stones that are on tour right now. And at one point during the show, he congratulated the Canadian men's national team for being in the semifinals of Copa America. And so this is permeated through, and this is something that is being celebrated now. And as I said before, this team did what we hoped the U.S. was going to do, which was harness this for good and for positivity and for inspiration going forward into 2026. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.